All roads lead to Rome. Every time we try to leave, we end up back in Rome. How do we leave Rome? What have we done to deserve this? Welcome to Night Vale. Where to start? Where to start? Time is an illusion, and existence is improbable. So let's just start with this. The Night Vale Community Theatre would like to announce auditions for their upcoming show, Les Miserables. Citizens interested in auditioning should close their doors, lower their blinds, and live in existential terror for the rest of their insignificant lives. Or you can come on down to the rec center this afternoon. Kind of up to you. We're fine either way. Whatever works. And now, a message from our sponsor. You are sitting in a room. It is cubic, about 20 feet on either side. The walls, floor, and ceiling are blinding white and seem like they would be shiny if there were any light source to reflect. Aha, you ask yourself, but if there's no light source, how do you know they're white? That is the weird part. Definitely not the weirdest, but it's heading in that direction. There is no visible light source, no lamps or bulbs or even windows or doors, yet the room is brightly lit from no direction at all. You can tell because you have no shadow. A door opens where there was no door before. A woman enters wearing a deer mask. You know her name, but you dare not say it. You know there will be consequences for all of this, and you are so happy, but also you are terrified. You are both happy and terrified simultaneously, and this ambiguity only brings you more joy, more terror. You are so terribly, terribly happy. You are so dreadfully, dreadfully frightened. You reach your hand towards the woman, trembling in your comfortable athletic sneakers. Nike, don't do it. Don't you dare. Auditions for Les Miserables have begun at the rec center. The very first audition slot was filled by John Peters, you know, the farmer. He wowed the directors and their ministry with his rendition of Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, Please Stop Crying, I Hate It When You Do This, You Know It Won't Save You, So What's the Point? A number from the hit Broadway musical, Cats. John, of course, has been interested in theater his whole life, which is why, according to him, he went into the farming industry. When asked what farming had to do with theater, he said, You just don't know what real art is. You just don't know what real art is. He then shook his head vigorously until several bees flew out of his ears and began to weep. There were many follow-up questions. None of them were answered. None of them were asked. Reporters had so many questions about so many things, but they could not bring themselves to ask for fear of what they might learn. Tonight, and every night from now on, they will lie in bed, thinking of those questions, and thinking of what could have been if only they had asked, if only they had opened their mouth and asked. They will never speak of this to anyone. Next to audition was Michelle Wynn, owner of Dark Owl Records. She allegedly sang a song of her own composition, although there is no way to be sure. Nobody was allowed to watch or listen to her perform. This song is mine, Wynn said, and I don't want it to be ruined by other people listening to it. When told that she could not be cast if the directors were not given a chance to evaluate her performance, she replied, Ugh, whatever. Theater is so mainstream anyway. Literally nobody even cares about theater, she was heard telling her friend Maureen later in the afternoon. Nobody even likes acting. Who would want to be in a show? She muttered to herself as she drove home from work. Why would I even care about being in a show? She yelled at the mailman when he came by to deliver her a large package that whistled and beeped when it was touched. Don't report any of this, she yelled into my ear just now. Sorry, Michelle. More on auditions soon, but first, the Children's Fun Fact Science Corner. Kids, did you know that your body is made up of more than 80% flies? It's true. Here's a fun experiment to prove it. Take a jar of honey and, oh no. Listeners, it appears that the Ministry of Theatre has begun their casting process. We have been receiving massive seismological activity here at the radio station. Great cracks have opened in the ground, threatening to swallow entire buildings. Intern Kareem, what was that crash? Hold on, I'll be right there. Let's go to the weather.
Sigue andando el camino por toda su vida, respira. Y si pierdes mis huellas, que Dios te bendiga, respira.
This is my street. I smile at the faces I've known all my life. They regard me with pride. And everyone's sweet, they say you're going places. So how can I say that while I was away, I had so much to hide? Hey guys, it's me, the biggest disappointment you know. The kid couldn't hack it, she's back and she's walking real slow. Welcome home, just breathe.
Sigue andando el camino por toda su vida, respira.
Just breathe.
Si pierdes mis huellas, que Dios te bendiga, respira.
As the radio plays old forgotten boleros, I think of the days when this city was mine. I remember the praise, ay te adoro, te quiero. The neighborhood waved and said, Nina, be brave and you're gonna be fine. And maybe it's me, but it all seems like lifetimes ago. So what do I say to these faces that I used to know? Hey, I'm home.
Mira, Nina,
Hey,
no me preocupo por ellos.
they're not worried about me.
Mira, allí está nuestra estrella.
They are all counting on me to succeed.
Ella sí da la talla.
I am the one who made it out, the one who always made the grade. But maybe I should have just stayed home. When I was a child, I stayed wide awake, climbed to the highest place on every fire escape, restless to climb. I got every scholarship, saved every dollar, the first to go to college. How do I tell them why I'm coming back home with my eyes on the horizon? Just me and the GWB asking G, Nina, what'll you be? Straighten the spine, smile for the neighbors. Everything's fine, everything's cool. The standard reply, lots of tests, lots of papers. Smile, wave goodbye, and pray to the sky. Oh God, what will my parents say? Can I go in there and say, I know that I'm letting you down, Nina? Just breathe.
Listeners, the cast list has gone up for the Night Vale Community Theatre's production of Les Miserables. The role of Jean Valjean will be played by Erika. The role of Javert will be played by Erika. The role of Fantine will be played by Erika. The role of young Cosette will be played by Megan Wallaby. I applaud the directors for taking steps to help Megan feel included in our community. It will be interesting to see how this will affect the design and costuming of the show, given that Megan, a 12-year-old little girl, inhabits the body of a bald, middle-aged, 6'10" Russian man. But it will at least be easier than it would have been back when her entire body consisted of an adult male hand. We are so proud of our community and of our Megan. When reached for comment on their controversial casting decision, the Night Vale Community Theatre, speaking through their ministers, who appeared in public wearing delicate veils and thick leather gloves, clarified that it's not all the same Erika. Each role is played by a different person, they said in unison. Or wait, entity? Being? What's the politically correct term these days? They mumbled to one another, casting glances around the room. Angel? Supplied one of the reporters helpfully. Several other reporters angrily shushed the first reporter. Others plugged their fingers in their ears and hummed loudly, and still others began to silently cry. In the distance, the angel acknowledgement siren went off, alerting everybody that someone had acknowledged the existence of angels, an act which is still illegal according to the city council. Whatever they're called, the ministers continued 10 minutes later when the siren had stopped. Each Erika displayed their own talents and abilities, which we thought earned them a spot in our show. Maybe we were wrong. It's not likely. We've only been wrong like 2 or 3 times before, so... The ministers all looked annoyingly smug under their veils as they glanced around to see if the reporters were impressed. The reporters were not impressed. The ministers lowered their gazes awkwardly and continued. We made the decision to cast the Erikas because they are talented performers, not because we wanted to make a political statement. Theater has never been about making political statements. But here they were interrupted by the reporter who had initially brought up the controversy by referring to the tall, winged beings from a plane other than our own as angels. The reporter stood up and grandly delivered the following speech. Night Vale, do not be swayed by these false claims. Theater is about making political statements. It always has been. Whenever something is wrong in the world, the very first to enact change is the theater. I am an actor. I enact change. We are always the first to move forward, to recognize what is wrong with the world, and to fix it. That is what theater is all about. Also, have you even seen Les Miserables? It's literally about a political revolution. To which the ministers all looked at one another, shrugged, and said, yeah, okay, that's true. We kind of walked right into that one, honestly. Okay, yeah, it was totally supposed to be a political statement. Yep. Listeners, I don't know how I feel about this. Yes, roles should be decided by talent and not by who is most politically targeted. But also, the Erikas have talent. They are enthusiastic and dedicated, and it simply would not be fair to deny them a part just because they are transcendental and do not legally exist. We are not a city of denial, Night Vale. We are a city that opens doors. Large oak doors, for example, to a desert otherworld hidden in the dog park. Or heavy, ominous doors that move without a sound before you touch the knob, opening into a vast space that does not seem physically possible from the outside. Or even just the doors of our community theater, allowing anybody, whether they be a person, an adult male hand with a transplanted body, or a heavenly being we all insist is not an angel. The world is moving forward, Night Vale, and we must open our doors and move forward with it. In other news, John Peters, you know, the farmer, is throwing a hissy fit in his imaginary cornfields and throwing cherry bombs at passers-by. Steer clear of the area. From my open door through yours, good night, Night Vale. Good night. Welcome to Night Vale is a production of Night Vale Presents. This episode was written by Lonnie Miller. Today's weather was Breathe from In the Heights by Manuel Miranda. Check out welcometonightvale.com for more information on this show, as well as some episodes that were written by the actual creators and not just by a 9th grade student completing an English project. Also, if you want to donate to them, that'd be rad too. I'm not entirely sure what to say here. They sort of have an outro thing going, and I don't want to mess with it. You don't actually have to donate. That was a joke. Today's proverb: honesty is the best policy. The second best policy is free healthcare.